to Guitars for Vets, Lesson 6. In this lesson, we're looking at the C chord and the Cia9 chord. This chord, adding to the previous chords we learned in the other lessons, we're going to be able to play some complete songs. So we're going to just jump right into it and take a look at the C chord. All right, starting off with the C chord, we're going to start with where our first finger goes. Our first finger is going to go to the first fret of your B string. Okay, then your middle finger is going to skip over your G string and it's going to go to the second fret of your D string. And then lastly, your third finger is going to reach over to the third fret of your A string. The strings that we strum are from the A string down, 5 strings, not strumming the top E string. Okay, again about positioning the fingers. Remember that first finger, you can get that nice and close to the top of the fret. If it's too low, it might make it hard for that third finger to reach. And if your fingers aren't as stretched or as limber as mine are, you may get that buzzing sound that you don't like. So really position that first finger to the top of the fret as best you can. All right, so again, first finger, first fret of B. Middle finger skips over the G, goes to the second fret of D. Third finger reaches over to the third fret of A. You're strumming from the A string down, leaving out the top E string. Strumming 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, 1, 2, 3, rest. Take a second to see if you can find where to put your fingers on your own. In the meantime, I'm going to start talking about moving from a C chord, or moving to a C chord from other chords. It is fairly different from the other chords that we've done in the previous lessons. So let's talk about how we can switch from the E minor, which is usually the easiest. Okay, the reason why is that in E minor chord, our middle finger shares the same note as the C chord. So it doesn't have to move, and that'll be our pivot finger. So if I'm on an E minor chord, what's going to happen is my first finger is going to reach back to the first fret of B, and my third finger is going to come up to that third fret of A. So again, the motion you're going to see is my middle finger anchors, first finger goes back, while my third finger simultaneously goes to the third fret of A. All right. The only big adjustment, well, it's not that big of an adjustment. The adjustment you're going to make in your right hand is, of course, you're going to go from strumming 6 strings in the E minor to strumming 5 strings for the C chord. Let's try this slowly, or take a second to just try that movement out yourself. In the meantime, we're going to get strumming. 4 strums each for each chord, starting on the E minor at a slow tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, and switch. 2, 3, back to E minor. 2, and switch. 2, back to E minor. And switch. And rest. Okay, let's make it a little harder right away. We'll do it on 2 strums each. 2 strums for each chord. We'll take it a little bit slower to start, and then I'll speed up. Okay, start on E minor chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, switch. 3, switch. 1, switch. 3, switch. 1, switch. 3, switch. Last time. 1, switch. 3, switch, and rest. Okay, let's make it a little more difficult. Let's take a look as to how to go from a G chord to a C chord. Those two are in a lot of the same keys together, so it's a pretty common switch. Let's start with the G chord. I will just use 3 fingers for this G chord. Middle finger on 3rd fret of E, first finger on 2nd fret of A, and then my 3rd finger all the way to the back of the bottom string of E. Okay? Now, for this, there are no common notes for you to anchor. But what you can do is you can kind of take a look at least your middle and first finger are kind of at least in a similar shape to what they would be for the C chord, right? Okay, so when you're moving to the C chord, you need to picture your first finger going back to that first fret and your middle finger accompanying it, but not going quite as far. It's going to go to the 2nd fret of your D string. So again, if I'm here on my G chord and I'm just looking at my 1st and 2nd finger, my first and middle finger, and that's it. And just watch how your fingers go down a fret and your first finger lands on that first fret, and that we leave one string in between the two. Now for your third finger, just remember that if it's the slower of the two fingers, just give it some time and it can go down last. Eventually, they'll all move together. A good way to practice any chord switching is to just, without strumming, just move your fingers and see if you can get them all to move at the same time. Again, if your third finger's a little late, that's okay. So let's try that. Let's go from a G chord to a C chord, okay? 4 strums each. 1, 2, 3, 4. Switch to C, back to G. Switch to C, 2, back to G. Switch to G, Z, sorry, my bad. Back to G. Okay, let's see what it looks like switching from a D chord to a C chord. Again, you don't have any fingers in common. So again, let's just see what we have to do. I'll start on the D chord, and it looks like, well, at least these two fingers are kind of making the same shape as they are for the C chord, except they're all the way at the bottom 2 strings. So again, if you can think of like moving this first finger down to the B, while these two move as a pair up to your A and D string. So they land on the 3rd and 2nd fret. Just as over here, they're on the 3rd and 2nd fret of your B and E. So it's a big move, but again, the way to practice this is just to, without strumming, just practice moving, getting the finger motion down. All right, let's jump into it and see how we do. 4 strums each, slow tempo, starting on the D. 1, 2, 3, 4. And switch. Switch, 1, 2, and switch, 2, and switch, and switch, and rest. Okay, so now that we've had a chance to work through how the C chord moves between some chords, let's come up with 4 bars of chords, and we'll include the C. Let's try to move back and forth between them. Okay, so I think we're going to do E minor to C to G to D. We'll start off with 4 strums each. Okay, starting on E minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. Think of that C chord and switch. Coming up G, 3, switch. Now look at your hand, look for the D chord, switch. Okay, now think of the E minor, 3, and switch. Remember to anchor your middle finger, switch to C, look ahead to that G chord, and switch to throw into the D chord. Okay, one more time, back to E minor. Okay, switch into the C, fire your first finger back, don't let the 3rd finger slow you down, go to G, 2, go into D chord. Okay, let's change up the chord pattern a little bit. This time we will start on a C, and we're going to go from a C to a D to a G to an E minor. Okay, 4 strums each. Starting on a C. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ready? Switch to D. Okay, look ahead for that G chord and switch. Okay, now we've got an anchor finger here, going to E minor. Now you hold your middle finger down to go to C. Ready, switch, and go into D chord, switch, 2, 3, go to G, switch to E minor, and rest. Okay, so that was the C chord, and now we're going to move on to the Cia9 chord. Cia9 chord shows up a lot in rock and pop music. It's got a very nice soft sound to it, and is used quite a bit. A big reason why it's used, though, is that it works well in the key of G, and as we've learned the G chord, where we use all the fingers, the nice thing about that is that you end up keeping your weakest fingers, your third and your pinky finger, planted on that third fret, while these two fingers move down a string. So if we've looked at the C chord, what the Cia9 does is that it takes basically most of the notes of the C chord, or the C shape that you've done, but then it adds the third fret to it. So these three notes are the same, except of using our third and second finger, we're using our second and first finger in place of it. Of course, the idea is that it moves easily between a G and a Cia9 chord, because these two fingers stay planted. So best way to find that is make a G chord that uses all your four fingers. So that's third fret, second fret of A, third fret of E, second fret of A, and then these two fingers are together on the third fret of your B and E. Okay, strumming all the strings. Now what happens is that these two fingers just move down a string. They maintain the same shape, but they're on the third and second fret of a string below, of your A and your D string. Okay, your right hand does not strum the top string, just like you would with a C chord. Just the 5 strings from A down. Okay, so here, it's a pretty easy pass between. It's just a matter of moving those two fingers back and forth. So we're going to strum this one a little bit faster. Let's start with a bit of a faster tempo, about there. We'll just do 4 strums each, going back and forth. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Switch, 2, and switch, and switch, and rest. Take it a bit faster, a faster tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Switch, switch, and switch. 1, switch. Take a rest. Going a little faster now. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, switch, 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 rest. Okay, because it's such an easy transition between the two chords, let's work on the right hand a little bit. Let's try some different strumming. Let's try going from a down, down, up, down, down, up. That's a 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. Okay, so that means when you're switching from one chord to the next, likely your hand is going to be moving on that last upstroke, which is okay. And you'll notice that it won't make that much of an impact on the sound. So whatever you do, keep that right hand moving, all right? And don't try to compensate for the left hand if it's not moving as fast as you'd like, okay? Try it a little slower. This rhythm, down, down, up, down. We'll do 2 bars each for each chord, okay? Following me, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, switch. Down, down, up, down, down, up. 1, 2, 3, switch. Down, down, up, ready, switch. Down, down, up, down. 1, 2, 3, switch. Excellent. Let's take it a little bit faster, okay? A little faster tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down, down, up, down, down, up. 1, 2, 3, switch. Down, up, down, down, up. 1, 2, 3, switch. 1, 2, 3, switch. 1, 2, 3, rest. Okay, so now let's take that Cia9 chord and let's add that to 4 bars of chords, making a bit of a chord pattern. This time we're going to start on the G. Okay, we're going to go from a G to a Cia9, to a D, to an E minor. That's our pattern. 4 strums each, just downstrokes. Okay, starting at a slower tempo. 1, 2, 3, here we go. 2, ready? Switch to Cia9 and switch. 3, go to D. Look at your hand, think of that E minor. 3, and switch. Ready, back to G, and go, and 1, 2, 3, switch to Cia9, 1, 2, 3, and switch to D, 1, 2, 3, and switch to E minor, 2, and rest. Okay, let's take that same pattern and, but let's go in reverse. Let's start from an E minor, going to a D, going to a C-add-9, and going to a G. Okay, starting on an E minor. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and switch to D. Look ahead to that C-add-9. 3, switch to C-add-9. 3, and switch to G. And switch to E minor. 2, and switch to D. Remember, you got a finger here that you use for C-add-9. And switch. That third finger stays anchored. Back to G. One more time through. Going to E minor. 2. Look at that D chord and switch. Ready? Anchor that finger. Go to C-add-9. And then to G. And rest. That's right. Just as I was saying, in that D chord, just like you do going to like a G chord, you have one finger in common, that third finger. So when you're going from a D to a C-add-9, if you've practiced going to the G in this way, then going to the C-add-9 should be really easy. Okay? Same thing, but this time only 2 strums on each chord. E minor, D, C-add-9, G. Okay? Taking it at a slow tempo. 1, 2, 3, here we go. And 1, switch to D, 1, switch to C-add-9, switch to G. And repeat. Go to D, go to C, and go to G, and switch to E minor, switch to D, switch to C-add-9, switch to G, and rest. So now that we've got the C chord and the C-add-9, we've got enough chords now to complete a song. All right, in the next video, we'll work a bit more on using these patterns in some very famous tunes, and you'll also notice some videos that will work on those specific tunes. I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed teaching it. You have yourself a great time, and good practicing, everyone. We'll see you in the next lesson.